Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about understanding the importance of just consistency in our training. And a lot of people don't get this, but people who've been doing this a long time do. And I've had this happen with vlogs where I have clients who are so busy in the past they could just maintain, and people are like, well, they haven't made gains. And they'll say that. I'm like, but they also haven't regressed. Not significantly. And I think that is the take home that people have to remember when it does come to consistency, because really when you look at getting large amounts of muscle, large amounts of strength, being really fit, and all of these things, they really are just about consistency. And it doesn't mean that people are having to make progress all the time, right? It just means that they need to be at least doing something and maintaining most of what they have all the time. So that's again a line that I've used before. If you want to get really strong, what's the key to getting really strong? I don't know, squat heavy once a week for the next 10 years. Now, some people say, but does this stuff take that long? Yeah, it really does, unless people are going to use very, very large amounts of substances. Yeah, these things do take time. But when I say the time, it just means that you need to be consistent. And a perfect example, we're talking about this stuff as a lifetime thing. You can be consistent over 5 or 10 years. But the other thing, even if your body fat goes up a little bit, you can always diet it down later. I'm certainly not as lean as I could be in these things, but I also could get leaner pretty quickly if I need to. I've got a lot of muscle mass. I've got a lot of energy turnover, right? But we're talking mainly, though, about gains in strength here, muscle mass, those things, and just general fitness. Perfect example, again, I've had certain clients who, when their lifestyles, because they have a lot going on, they have to get really busy, they get hectic, sometimes 3, 4, 5 months. But I've had them for years and years as clients. So here's what I would say to people, what we mean by consistency, that means that you don't quit just because everything gets busy. It means that you scale back what you're doing. Because not everyone's goal is to be an elite athlete in something. And it doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be. But I think most people, they don't understand that if they just trained correctly and did stuff, they would be considered elite by most people eventually, after 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, because the time's going to pass anyways. But what do we do with those people? Well, we just do the training that they can get done. And here's the thing. I would say maintain your habits. If you can only get to the gym 2 or 3 days a week, or get your training in 2 or 3 days a week for 30, 40 minutes, make that time no matter what. Set your baseline as this is the minimum that I can allow myself to go under, and you never break that habit. And if you do that, you will always be able to keep your progress. And in other words, you can have periods of time in your life where you do push harder. You can get ideal training in, ideal programming in, you can go 100%. And then you may have periods of time in your life due to your career, school, family, obligations to where you can only give 50%. But once you've built a significant base, being able to give 50%, and I don't mean effort, I mean put in 90+% effort, but maybe 50% of the training time that you used to be able to get in. Will that keep you where you were? Of course. So what if you're so busy with life that you can only really go 100% 3 or 4 months out of the year, and then you have to coast the rest and just maintain what you have? What does that do in the long term? I mean, compared to the average person who starts and stops. Okay? I'll put it a different way. Let's say you can only give 100% 3 months out of the year, and then you just maintain the other 9 months. Where will you be in 10 years? Compared to the person who gives 6 months and then quits for 6 months, gives 6 months and then quits. You'll be way ahead of them. You will be years ahead of them, because they have to regress every time. They restart, they rebuild. Time is going to pass anyways. Show up and do what you can, and figure out for yourself what is an appropriate maintenance schedule and routine, and build those habits. And you build those habits in the period of time when you are able to give more. And then when you are forced to coast due to circumstances going on in your life, again, you get into the gym for 30 minutes, do your important work, do the things that's most important. And you don't have time for all the stuff to optimize everything, but you get your important stuff in. Your big lifts with just enough volume to kind of keep your strength and size on, and then maybe, your one or two little vanity lifts that you do. You can squeeze some of those in. Maybe you really care about your biceps. Maybe you really care about your delts or whatever. Okay, well, you can get that worked in. And then you keep everything that you had. Now, if you're not advanced, you'll still probably gain during that. But if you've been doing this a long time, you probably won't make progress during those times. But can you keep what you have? Let's say you got your deadlift at 500 pounds. Can you keep it there? Probably. If not, it'll be very close. You'll be able to get it back to that within a couple weeks. Right? Just be consistent. Consistent hard work. And that's really what it's about. It's just developing those habits and having that amount of consistency. Consistency, that's it. And it's interesting how many people don't get that. And I know people don't get that because of a lot of the comments that I see in videos. And I think, again, especially with certain really long-term clients, I've seen that. Emma's the perfect example, right? Emma's the perfect example of that. But it's like she's still light years ahead of the average woman who goes to the gym, right? Because she's been consistent. We have periods of time where she can go really hard, she makes good progress, then her life gets in a point where she has to coast a bit, but she keeps what she had. She keeps what she had, and then she goes back to making progress. Keep in mind, she's not a competitor in anything, but then I can walk in and even when she's coasting, she can bench 140 pounds with a pause. She can still deadlift 300 pounds anytime I need her to. Right? She still jogs, still does all her conditioning work. And that's what I'm talking about. Right? Compared to the average gym goer, she's ahead of the curve. And that's exactly what I'm talking about with this stuff. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.